Okay, we can go ahead and start it. Okay. So in today's topic, I'm talking about DLL hijacking, different ways to find the DLL hijacking as well as the exploiting DLL hijacking. It's the easiest vulnerability you'll find on the thick client application and a lot. Not only thick client, but there are many others as well. Okay. So I'm sure that it's not needed to tell every time who am I. I already recorded 2 sessions for Mystico. You can go ahead and look my other videos and you'll find who am I and all stuff. Yes. So what's the agenda for today? So I'll be covering the DLL hijacking on the topic of the different types of DLL hijacking. I mean the installer base. I given this name by myself. I'm not sure if you find this same name on the Google, then it's up to you. But it's not the same name maybe. But I just given the name for that installer base when it's mostly used for phishing attacks or something like that. For the human, you will get some exe with the DLL. The exe is the official one from the official certified vendors, but not the DLL. Or DLL can be also a fake generated certified or something like that. The installer base, where you'll find some installer, something like your IDM installer, your Microsoft Office installer, your Burp Suite installer. Hope you already know about the Burp Suite installer, and the program execution base. That means it's not the installer, the program. You use the program, like you type something on Excel, or you do some activity on Burp Suite. You are using or executing, you are using that software. Okay, in that case, you will be escalate. You can escalate the privileges of whatever you have using the vulnerability of DLL hijacking. The third one, which is common maybe, but I'm not sure, path environment based. I mean, I hope that you all know about path environment variable. If you don't, let me know. Am I audible? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes, you are audible.
Then it's perfect. The path environment variable. If you don't know the path environment variable, just Google about it. You will get easily. It's the easiest thing for the just simply if you want to type something like a CMD or something like IP config, you don't have to put all the paths. I mean C:// or if you are in a Linux environment, then your exactly bash or sh program is inside the /bin folder. So you don't have to write /bin/bash. Okay, you just decide one path for executable files. So for that you can easily type like bash for executing bash, ipconfig for executing ipconfig.exe. So using this environment variable, you can do that easily. So what in this case, some DLL is not called from proper location. I mean the DLL should be called from a specific location. The full path should be provided there. But sometimes what happens, the Windows or a program is not configured properly, so it automatically try to find a DLL, specific DLL from the all path environment variable or a location which is inside the path environment variable. So what happens, if he found somewhere, then it try to execute. So if any user has privilege to do the same on the to write the DLL inside the path environment variable, or I mean to say inside the location which is inside your path environment variable, can escalate their privileges easily. So it's the common one you will find on the each and mostly non-proper configured or not famous software. You will find easily this vulnerability, path environment variable, DLL hijacking. Clear? What is DLL, the core concept? I'm sure, I hope that you all know about DLL, dynamic link library. A simple explanation can be each functionality you use for the Excel, or you use the C programming language. You try to use printf function or cin for C++, for system, for PHP. So each functionality, if you use that functionality, it should be connected to the Windows environment or the Linux environment. There must be some connection, right? So the DLL files helps to execute your functions, or it has your function which will be called by your programming language or your compiler, whatever you have. Clear? What is DLL hijacking? So DLL hijacking is just a simple thing, or I can say a program try to execute some DLL. Okay, if a user has privilege or anyone has privilege to replace that DLL, or if the DLL is not present in that case, if the DLL is not present in that case, if user can add their own DLL to the location of that, then probably the program executes and it tries to fetch or execute your DLL or use your DLL, or I can simply say like load your DLL, and you will get a code execution or a privilege escalation easily. I'll be covering everything in practical way, so don't worry for that. The phishing through DLL files, it is possible with the installers, because you mostly download installer from the websites or anywhere, right? So if you got some website like which says that I am the official Bobsuit provider or something like that, or XYZ, okay, so if you downloaded that jar, not the jar file, okay, you can take jar file or exe, any binary, any file, but it sends a DLL with it. Okay, you always check for the or the certificate or similar things on your exe file or your executable file, not with your DLL, right? So what happens whenever that exe you execute, automatically by that exe your DLL file will execute as well. So it leads to get easy access to the system. Metasploit has the module for that. The name is similar to web dev DLL hijacking or similar. I'll be trying to show you that as well, but it makes no sense to use some automated programs or similar. Okay, so let me quickly show you the practical way for the each and every type. Then I'll get back to you on this as well. Okay, I'm changing it to my VM screen. If you can see, let me know. Can you see my Win7? Yes, no, or VMware screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hope my Kali as well. Yes? Anyone? Any text messages?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So let me quickly maximize it. So very first way, or very first to find the DLL hijacking, it's very easy, trust me, but not in all the case, but obviously, but yes, it's easy to find DLL hijacking vulnerability. I'll be using this notepad for any notes or similar stuff. Okay, so the first thing you will need, the only thing you'll need for finding DLL hijacking in the very basic stage or very easiest way is the procmon. If you don't know about sysinternals or a procmon, go to Google and type sysinternals. The package of sysinternal contains lots of debugging and the similar related to some processing and all tools provided from the Microsoft itself. So you can download the procmon. I'll be using 64-bit computer, so that's why I'm using 64-bit of procmon.txt. This question, I see, but audio is not very loud for me, not working through headset. Anyone else has the same issue? Anyone? My audio is not clear. Anyone else? Audio all good. Okay, maybe bro, you have to check your headset. Maybe you have to use some loudspeaker or similar. I can't help you with that as well. Clear? So I'll be using the procmon.exe. I'll be using 64-bit computer as well as 64-bit of binary. So that's why I'm using the 64-bit of procmon.exe. You can download easily from the official website. Just Google about sysinternal or the procmon itself. Procmon means process monitor. Clear? So the easiest way to finding the DLL hijacking is to opening a procmon. Okay, I've already configured something. Just reset it on the default and click apply and okay. If you have some pre-filtered or something like that, it's just a filter menu, nothing else. Okay. Once you're done with it, you will find your each and every process will be shown on your screen. So just it's easy. Just open any of your program what you think that might be some DLL hijacking vulnerability or similar. So I'll be using this Flash Player 32 install. It's just a Flash Player, a latest one you can download. Flash Player doesn't allow the installer based DLL hijacking. So if you think that you can report DLL hijacking on Flash Player, so it might be not good for you, or you won't get any bounty, but maybe appreciation letter. Maybe, I'm not sure about it because I haven't reported it, but it's the easiest one. Okay, it's just installer, nothing else. I created copy of it because once it installs, it automatically removes the package of installer. So that's why I have created a copy. As you can see, I have 2 copies of it. Clear? So it's an installer based. What I'm talking about is installer based. So it's very simple. Start your Procmon, use your whatever your exe, just execute it as you do on the normal base. By default, when you install your software, it requires administrator privilege, right? So I'm giving the administrator privilege, and I don't want to continue it. If you want to, you can go ahead and complete whole process. But in my case, I really don't need it, so I can skip that as well. And just I'm quickly go to my Procmon. I'll stop my process monitoring using this button over here, or you can use Control E, a capture button, or Control E. It's up to you. And I'll be adding some filters over here. Okay, you can use Control L. Control L for opening this prompt box, or there is some filter button, I guess. Maybe this. No, not sure. Maybe I use the shortcut one always, so I don't know. But you can go ahead and find it. By mistake, I added something, but it's good. Okay. So in my case, my program name, the first one. So I'll just select process name. Process name. Hope everyone can see my screen clearly. Process name. I said contains. I don't know the actual process name, right? So I can just say like process name contain XYZ. Okay. So in that XYZ, what is the program name? Flash Player. So I can directly type Flash Player, and click on add. Click on apply, and you will find that all the program or a process name is containing your Flash Player.xyz. So what Procmon does, let me quickly show you. It shows each and every step or each and every activity by your process. Like if it try to load some files, some DLL files, it tried to write some file, it tried to read some registry files, and lots of. So it's good. You can go ahead and find by yourself as well what all things it finds. Okay. As you can see, there are lots of DLL files. Some of them are success, and some of them shows as a result name not found, which we are interested in. Name not found, right? So let me quickly add my another filter, which is result. As you can see, result. Success means the program itself try to execute or try to load some file or read some file or write some file, and it succeeds to do that. Okay, but if it fails, then it shows the result as name not found. So it's easy. Another query, maybe just down a little. Okay. Contains Flash Player. Let me quickly add another result. Result is, I don't need contains at this point. If you want to use contains or less than or more than or greater than, there are lots of you can use. But I go with the is. The result is name not found. And I added filter on that. Click on apply and click on OK. But as you can see, there are lots of different things as well. We are just focused on the DLL hijacking, not the other stuff. There are registry entry, some of them creates a registry entry, some of them deletes registry entry, some of them read registry entry. The different activities you can see over here. So it makes no sense, right? So you have to find the DLL one. Right, I can't find DLL by just looking into each and everything. I have the filter option. I can simply use the filter option. So I'll be using the path, because path shows the DLL, right? As you can see, and DLL should be in the end. So what I'll do, path ends with, as you can see, ends with dot DLL. I'll be adding filter for dot DLL. Click on apply and boom. Here you all the DLL which is required for installation and which is not found. But still your program works. Maybe your program has some functionality, some extra functionality or some extra functions which load some extra DLL which is not available for on your system. Maybe it may be not available on Windows 7 itself. I'll be showing you on the very next part where the specific DLL is not created or not for the Windows 7 or Windows 8. It is only for Windows 10 or upgraded one, Windows 8.1 and 10, not for the Windows 7, right? So many of them cases should be okay. So we are talking about installation based, right? That means the specific folder should be there. What I mean by the specific folder is my desktop. I use the flashplayer.exe from my desktop, right? So that means the DLL file should be called from my desktop itself. So what I'll find, I can easily filter that as well, but it's not good for now. Instead, we can go ahead and search for the desktop. As you can see, we can see many of DLL. The desktop one, see user, admin, desktop, and whatnot. There are lots of DLLs. Some of them are some internal functionality, some of them is required, some of them are not. And I don't know what the background of DLL. I'm not going to show you anything related to what that DLL does or anything, but I'll be showing you how you can find. So it's the easiest way to find the DLL hijacking on your thick client application. Clear? So as you can see on the last, I can see it's the only easiest one I can see. There are lots of, I can use any one of them. There are lots of desktop on the desktop, but I'm going to use the last one, which is C user admin desktop DXGIDEBUG. I don't know what that DLL does. Actually, I don't know the concept what the DLL has the functionality, but I know that the program specific tries to load that DLL and it fails to load. So as you can see, I'm executing my flash player from my desktop, right? So if it is not in the desktop, if it is in download folder, or if it is, I send my flashplayer.exe installer.exe with my malicious DLL with the name of the specific, which is DXGI whatever it is. You can see over here DX. So what it finds that DLL on that location, and boom, attacker get easily access to the system using this vulnerability. So that's why I told that installer based DLL hijacking is mainly used for the phishing kind of stuff, phishing with the humans. If anyone have any question, I recommend to raise your hand instead of messaging. So what happens, message, I can't see message each and every time. If you raise your hand, I'll get a pop-up that someone wants to ask some questions. So it's good. If DLL is not found in the path, it can check other path of DLL. Yes, if it is finding from the path environment variable. Wait, Akshay, I'll be showing that on the last page. So don't worry for now. Let's just focus on the installer base. On the installer base, the program should be the DLL file should be in the same location, right? On the same location, and that means if you download some software in download folder or XYZ folder, the DLL file should call from that XYZ folder itself. Clear? So in this case, I can see that the DXGIDEBUG.dll is calling from is being called from the main, or I can say from the desktop. So I can create this DLL. Let me quickly create that DLL. I have my Kali. I have already created. Let me quickly check my IP address. It's 10.11. MSF Venom -P Windows shell _ reverse _ TCP. I use the 32-bit environment because of my installer is 32-bit. Okay. Not all the case you will find that installer is 32-bit. Maybe you'll find 64-bit installer. Maybe you'll find 64-bit executable, which try to load 64-bit DLL file, not the 32-bit. So you have to try an error for that. But I know that it's a 32-bit installer, so I'll be using the default one, Windows Shell Reverse TCP. If it is 64-bit, then I'll probably use this x64 slash shell reverse TCP. So I'll just remove this x64 and go ahead for the further. Our host will be my IP address. Our port will be, I'll be choosing anyone. Maybe I'm going with the 443 -F. Format will be DLL. Hope everyone can see. -O out file. It is the necessary one. So what we need as our output file name should be as dxgidebug.dll, right? So let me quickly copy and paste it. Oops, not copy. Let me quickly try it again. So copy. I already have that file, so let me quickly remove it. Let's remove. In the meanwhile, I'll start my SMB server for sending that file. SMB server.py files and pwd. If you don't know about the SMB server, maybe you should go and check the IPSec video for that. Okay, files is my share name. I'll be starting my SMB server using Impactx, Python Impactx, and the pwd inside the negative apostrophe shows that I'll be using the current working directory. That's it, present working directory. What happens is it tries to execute pwd in my shell, and whatever the output will be printed over here. So that's the only logic. Hit enter. Permission denied because the updated one. I have to write sudo. Started my SMB server, and let me quickly go and download my file. I'll be using the run for downloading those files. As you can see, all files I can see over here. My file name was D something. D. Here it is. So what I'll do, I'll just drag and drop, copy and paste to my desktop, and that's enough. I already created payload. I uploaded on the same directory. The very next thing is to start my netcat. nc-lvp 443. On the latest one, you cannot open netcat session on 443 port without sudo rights. So you have to specify the sudo rights as well. So I have created my DLL exploit. You can create your own DLL, which will be much secure, or I can say which will mostly bypass your you can bypass your antivirus by just creating your own malicious DLL. There is also a vulnerability called proxy DLL hijacking, which can be also helpful over here. But in today's topic, I'm not going to talk about proxy DLL hijacking. We are will continue with this as only. Let me close it. My session is running. Yes. Let me quickly start it. Yes. Let me check my Kali. As you can see, I just executed the installer. If that DLL file is inside that same folder, I'll get shell easily. So that's the logic of installer-based DLL hijacking, where you send your DLL with the official installer, right? Because of your official DLL has vulnerability of DLL hijacking from the current path, you can get easily access to the target system. It's the easiest way what I found. Okay, there is a module in MSF Venom. Let me quickly check. So those service dot those place you those. Let's see. We can go ahead. MSF console. Search web dev. Maybe DLL. There is a name, I don't remember it right now. There is a name, something. I don't use Metasploit mostly if it is not in the necessary one. I mostly prefer the standalone scripts or similar. So DLL hijack maybe. DLL hijack. Web dev. Web dev. Yeah, that was the name. Cool. Copy. Use for this I have to stop my SMB server as well. Use 0 options, the base name, the extension, the share name, server host, SRV host. If you are using some port forwarding or some stuff, then you can use this as well, and the lots of stuff. You can go ahead and Google about how you can use the web dev DLL hijacker. Okay, it's the easiest way to find the DLL hijacking in the installer based application, installer based thick client. Clear? As you can see, who am I? I'm the admin privilege. Still I'm admin. I'll be getting the shell from whoever user executed that XYZ. I mean my installer. That's it. Who am I? /priv. Probably I don't have privilege of everything. I still have the administrator access, but not the official, the privilege of administrator. That means I choose the DLL, which is not being called after authentication. Yes, authorization or authentication. You might know already. Right? It seems that perfect. Now let's move on the second one. Let me quickly change my screen. Hope everyone can see. Let's see, wrong one, I guess. So installer based, used for phishing. Attacker will send a file along with the DLL. I mean, file means your executable, which is properly signed, or the official one. You can compare the hash with the official one, and they found that, oh, it's the official one. Mostly, if any user try to execute, if the guy is from security itself, then it tries just check, okay, it's from genuine person. Maybe you can go ahead and install it. Maybe you can go ahead and do this, and boom, it is vulnerable for DLL hijacking, and you will be compromised. Easy to trigger and exploit. Both are easy in this case. The second one, program execution based. As I told, I given the name to it. I'm not sure about what are the name. I mostly Google everything for finding. I try to use my own animal. I try to use my own brain, maybe. Used for privilege escalation. Mostly on the program execution base is used for privilege escalation. Just consider that you already has the access to the system, right? But the program, you will find a program which is used by your administrator, or which is automatically being started by your administrator, or something similar to that scenario. So what if you have the permission to write to that directory where the DLL is being called? Okay, so you can privilege escalate your privileges. You can escalate your privilege simply. It's easy. You should have permission to write to sensitive directory, or simple there must be insecure file folder permission. If you don't know about insecure file folder permission, I have created a GitHub repo. I'll already share to the Mystico. You can go ahead and check that as well. Okay. So the simple one is program execution based. So I have example of it. Let me quickly show you the same. Screen is not visible, I guess, for you guys. Can you see my Kali screen? Anyone? Yes, no?
Yes.
That is perfect. Cool. So the next program that with what I told you that it's not the installer one. Okay, as you know, installer mostly used to get access to the system. But what if you get access to get access as a normal user, or if you have the initial shell to the system and you want to escalate your privilege, then DLL hijacking can be helpful to you as well. As this short example, I have the software SwiftNet SwiftNest. If you don't know about SwiftNet, I also use this, so you can Google about it. SwiftNest related to SwiftNet X is for Windows, and the red SwiftNest is for Mac OS specific. Okay, so this software is SwiftNest X. Yes, SwiftNest X. So it's easy as well. Just open your Rockmon, click on give the administrator privilege for finding the vulnerability. I cleared everything, executed my program, which is swiftness.swiftnetx. I mean, I just opened it. I don't really need it, so I can close it. And I can stop my capture. I can add filter with process name contains, as I don't know the actual process name. If you want to be specific with your name, then the CMD will help you. A task list, yeah, you can choose your task. I mean, in my case, it must be with the name of something. Swiftness or something. Let it be. Let me quickly add here. Swiftness. Swiftness. I already ended that process. Yes, so I cannot see from my task list because of I ended the program. So it's not possible to get from the task list. We have to filter it over here. Swiftness X, maybe it's wrong name. Swiftness. Let me quickly check manually. I can right click over here as well. If you don't want to go and filter and type, just right click on your program. You can use include and exclude functionality. I can include the process ID. So that will be better one. Yeah, so I included the process ID. If I go to my my filter bar, and I can see that PID is over here. I added PID as 2828. Yes, it is. So the next task to add the result. Result is name not found. The next one was path and switch dot TLL and click on apply. Click on OK. As you can see, there are lots of, but not really. It's not the case, because if you can see, many of them are called repeatedly. I mean that if you can see that shcore.dll, 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 but if you can see, the path is different for everything. So I'll be covering that on the last stage, I mean last step, but not for now. For now, we can go ahead with our default one. As you can see, there are lots of lots of DLL is being called and which is not found. And the SwiftNet X is the latest version as well. So I'm not using any outdated software. As you can see, there are lots of DLL. I can choose any of them. Okay, because of I'm already an administrator, I can write to any path. Okay, but if I can create a new user and I can do that stuff as well. But I don't think it's really needed for now specific. Okay, so I'll do, I'll just go ahead and try to add any of them. I'll prefer this shcore.dll. The reason I'll tell you in the end, not now. Okay. So the path of this shcore.dll is C user admin app data local programs and blah blah and so and so. So what I'll check for privileges using iCackles, ICACLS, iCackles, and the path of your books. Why? Okay, I have to use mouse. Something is wrong. Is incorrect. What is incorrect? Maybe start. Oh, there are lots of files. As you can see the privileges of every file. I can just directly cd into it and check for the privileges. Control. It's really difficult to work with CMD. There are lots of DLL files. I can check my privileges if I'm a user, then using ICACLS and hitting dot. Go to current whatever directory you have and just type ICACLS, iCackles, and dot means current directory. Dot means backward directory, right? So in this case, I can see that administrator has the full privilege as well as system has full privilege and the admin has full privilege. No user group or user has the privilege to write in this folder. As I mentioned, whenever it is program execution based, mainly you have to find a directory where you have privilege to write. I'm already administrator, so I can directly go here and write my own file. So I'll be using that same file, but I don't think it will work because my software, this SwiftNet X, is 64-bit program. So if I use this debug, whatever DLL we already created, it won't work as well. Maybe it won't work. Maybe it will work. I don't know. But I haven't tried the 32-bit. I've tried the 64-bit. For this Flash player, I know already that it is 32-bit installer. That's why I use the 32-bit. Clear? So
That's right.
Let's. Sorry. Any question? Hello? Anyone say something? Hello? Hello? Am I audible? Suspicious. Anyone?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay.
You may continue.
Okay. So at this point, I have privilege. I am already administrator. So we are here to understand the vulnerability or exploiting the vulnerability. Not really. I'm not creating the lab environment for that. But yes, as I told you that on the last, I'll show you the 0-day, which will not be uploaded to our YouTube channel, which will be cropped down. Okay. So let's go ahead. CLS. I already have the swiftness. I can write file. I can create a file for that. Let me quickly go to my Kali. I already have that msfvenom command. I just have to replace the payload with x64. Here, in the end, I'm replacing the name. Let me quickly check what's the name of that DLL file. The DLL file name is shcore.dll. shcore.dll. my location, and it's my remote location where SMB share will be running. Oops. Refresh. Slash 10. My IP address. What's wrong with it now? Okay, shcore.dll, as you can see, it's over here. I can copy and paste to the directory where it is being got. Control P. As I told you, if it is this case, you must have privilege to write to that file. As I written the file, and I'll stop my process monitor. It's not really needed. I'll start my netcat listener and see I'll be 3243. I need sudo rights Kali, and I'll be starting the same program. Okay, so very next time, whenever the administrator or the higher privilege user will try to execute that file, along with your DLL will be called, your DLL will be executed, and you'll get an privilege shell. So for that, you have to wait for administrator to execute your program. So it is the case as well. So I didn't start it yet. Let me quickly start it. Maybe sometime your program crashes, not sometime, most of all times your program crashes because of it's not created intendedly. I mean, you have to create your own DLL file for that. If you want that your program should not crash or something like that, you can create a proxy DLL, or you can create a DLL file with the same name of the function. I mean, if that official shcore.dll has the function XYZ, then create a DLL with the same function name. Because of MSF Venom creates with the default function name, sometimes it makes problem to that. As you can see, if I type who am I, and it says that I am an admin. Who am I /priv, I still has the lowest privilege of the administrator, not the highest one. Highest privilege has the all privileges, which you can see over here. Clear? Everything, everyone? Yes?
Yes.
The last one, but not the least one, is very interesting, and it's, can you see my screen? The path environment variable. I hope that everyone know path environment variable. I already mentioned that before. If you don't know, just go to YouTube or Google and type path environment variable. You will find a much good information there, better than me, but obviously. So in path environment variable, whenever your program doesn't configure properly or your OS is not properly, I mean, mostly your program should call DLL from the specific path. Okay, so whenever it fails to do that, it tries to load your DLL from the path environment variable. If you don't know about path environment variable, I repeat that, go to Google and type path environment variable in Windows and Linux. I'll show you the quick demo of it, so don't worry for that as well. Clear? So what happens? A program, specific program, try to load DLL from the XYZ or from XYZ location, and if it fails, then it tried to load from different path of path variable, and once it didn't found that on that path, it moves to the forward and ahead and continue. Okay, so quickly a demo for that will be like so for if you want to see your path, just type path in Windows, and in Linux, echo $path. Echo echo $path. In Windows, it's easy. As you can see, it's the environment variable, a variable which has some paths. There are lots of paths. So let me quickly copy. I'm sure that you probably can't see it. Let me paste it to my. I'll be using the replace functionality to replace the semicolon with \n. \n means new line character. I extended the \n \r functionality and replace all. As you can see, everything is replaced. Maybe some of them are just looks scripts. I'll be using the commander, not that one, because in Windows 7, I don't know how I started Windows 10 itself. I'm very lessly used Windows 7. Path. I can copy the whole path from here. Maybe it's insert. Control V. Replace all. As you can see, each and every path are divided or are just shifted to the new lines. So the environment variable name is path, okay, and the location. These are different. If xyz.exe tries to load DLL from path environment, then what it does, it tries to find from bin, like it tries to find shell.dll. If he fails, if he found that no, it's not found, it's not over here, then it's moved to this location. If it fails, then it moves to this location. If it fails, then it moves to this location. If he found this on this location, I mean, if he found that shell.dll on this location, then it executes it. So if any user, it's not needed to be privileged like this. If any user has privilege in all these locations, mostly you will have privilege in Python scripts directory, mostly. And the Python scripts directory and the Python directory is mostly in your path environment variable. If it is not in the case, then it's okay. But in most of the case, it is in the path environment variable, because many guys like to use Python as directly. I can directly type pip because my scripts location is inside my path environment variable, right? If I can directly write Python to execute Python CLI, as you can see, it's Python command line interface. Because of that environment variable. That's clear. So if any user has privilege to any of these directory, can write his file to directory, and boom, whenever the program executes on the very next time, it will get the shell on the box with the privileged user. It's easy. Let me quickly show you. I have to remove that old one. Maybe it's over here. SH core. I'm using Control X for remove it. Okay. Net user. I have created a user test user which is inside the usage group or a user group, not the administrator. Test user is not inside the administrator group. Okay. So let me quickly check it. I can directly run as slash user, I guess, slash user test user, the program name command, maybe this, yeah. So I started CMD with the different user using a program with the name runners. If you don't know about runners, you can Google about it. It's the basic software of utility, you can say, of Windows. So if I can see who am I slash group or groups, I don't know, groups, yeah, groups. I am the member of user. I don't have any administrator groups. Maybe I have, oh, I don't know why. Still, I don't know. I created without administrator group, but maybe it shows that, so might be. Okay, who am I? Still Test user. I can see that with net local group administrator status, I guess. Yes. The administrator groups has a test user, administrator, and admin. So test user has the administrator privilege itself, but he is at least not an administrator. So I can replace its privilege, but it's okay for now. I'll do it afterwards, but not now. Maybe I use the payload. That payload makes it administrator or something like that. So I'll quickly check my directory if I have the privilege of any of these directories, any of these. Okay. So I already know about is that Python inside the scripts folder, I have the privilege to write. So I can directly copy this path and write to it. Like I can do cd control v control shift v. No, I can't copy paste without right clicking, edit and paste. That's so awkward. So I have if ICS dot administrator group has full permission. I have already full permission. I don't know why it created, but mostly if you go to your own system, you'll find that C Pro Python 27 scripts folder has the user privilege as well. If you are user, then you can write to this path as well. If you don't know, then you can find any of path which is inside the path environment variable. Just try wherever you can write. You can try each and everything. Okay. So the simplest one, what I'll do, I can use xcopy command to copy my file over here. Backslash attacker's IP address 0.0.11. You must have the initial shell in this space as well. Backslash files backslash shcore.dll. That was the file we created earlier to current directory. We already deleted that file, that shcore.dll from this. Let me quickly check it. If it is not the case, no, we haven't removed this. We can remove this from here. It's already being used because of my shell, maybe. I have access to that, yeah. So now I can select this file. Task manager, round 32, DLL core, delete. Oops. Some program is still that I don't have any access to it. Suspicious. So it's deleted now. I have already added to my scripts directory. You can go ahead and check yours. You can check all the path which is inside your path environment variable. If you found that path environment variable is writable, then boom, you are good to go. Okay. You can check each path using icackles command. I have uploaded my DLL file, and let me quickly go to my machine, start my netcat listener. Already started, I guess. Sudo nc vp 443 that I've used. Oops. Again, execute the same exploit. At this point, I use the path environment variable. How you can find the path environment variable, I'll show you in a minute, a quick minute. Wait for execution. I started and boom, I got a shell on that as well. Who am I? And I'm still, and administrator. Maybe that old one. I think it is the old one. I'm not sure, but maybe. So how you can find the path environment variable one? Let me quickly delete everything which I have already created. Scripts, maybe just search for this one as well. Search for shift delete. This was the one which is used over here. As I can see, it's not being stopped. So I can quickly stop it by stopping my round DLL, round predict DLL, and my where it is. It's already SwiftNet X process. Try again. Now the program works fine. You can execute it to compare that whether it's working or not. As you can see, it's working properly. If you want that your program should work as well when you are still on the system, then probably you have to write your own DLL. It's not easy to write your own DLL. You have to debug your DLL. You have to understand the functionality of DLL. You have to write according to it. You have to proxy according to it. You have to proxy all your functionality of that DLL. I mean that official SH core DLL to forward it to the official shcore.dll using your malicious DLL as the as the man in the middle or something like that. If you don't know about, just Google about proxy DLL. You'll get a nice information on Google. Clear? That was pretty easy. And the last one, how you can find that vulnerability of path environment variable. It's very easy as well. I'm still going with the same process monitoring filter because I'm using this. I'm going to show you the same program for this time as well, executing the same software. I'll get bunch of data to my procmon. Maybe not. I added PID, which is not good. Let me quickly check the name. No. Task list. That's awkward. Swift Ness. The name should be this only. I don't know. Not the PID, the name, process name is contains swiftness. I don't know why last time it didn't work, but it's good. Okay. So as you can see, there are lots of DLL files being called. You have to find the repeated one. As you can see, I can easily grab that shcore.dll is repeated one. I can directly right click, include to the path, because the path what we really need. So I just remove the old path which says that ends with .dll with the new one, which is the complete path of that DLL. I just click on apply. Not really, path won't work. I guess path end with shcore.dll. Yes, that was the file which was repeated. So if you just type path ends with shcore.dll, you will get every shcore.dll from each and every path. As you can see, it tries to load from admin app data xyz this location, then system32 location, then Windows shcore location, then Python 37 location, Python 37 script location where we really uploaded the Python 27 script location. These all are the location which are in your path environment variable. I hope everyone it is understandable at least. Yes, no? Anyone?
Yes.
So any doubts still now? Any doubts? I can show you one more example of that same path environment variable if you really want to.
Well, there is one thing.
Yes.
As you said that if there is a missing DLL, it checks to the next path, and if even if it's absent there, it will check for the next path again.
Yes, but if it is configured improperly, if the programmer or the developer directly just use like include XYZ or import XYZ, then maybe your operating system will try to find, or your compiler will just automatically try to find the location. If it is not properly setted, like the program path should be, the DLL path should be specified that okay, import from this location. If you do want to read how you can prevent the DLL hijacking, I'm not the right guy. Trust me. I do the exploitation stuff. I'm not at preventing or something like that. But I know at least that if you want to protect those, you have to specify full path. Because if you can see, there are lots of DLL which are properly, it just loads from the right path, not from the path environment variable, or it may be inside the path environment variable. The system32 folder is inside the path variable, path environment variable, and the official DLL is already there. So it directly loads that. So it doesn't go to the next path. So I cannot see with my procmon. So
No,
maybe
but
it tries to
that's a
load
kind of
each and
attack, right?
every.
Again.
Hmm?
So this kind of attack is also known as ghost DLL hijacking, right?
You can say that. As I already mentioned, maybe you'll find some different name from internet. I just said it for what I know, what I think about it. That's it. That's why I
Yeah.
told you the different name you'll find on Google. I also got the different name. That's why I just choose. You can consider as installer based DLL, the execution based DLL, and the last one path environment based DLL hijacking. There are one or two more you can find on Google, like proxy DLL. Proxy DLL mostly you'll use for the defender, or if you have the defender or something like that, you can bypass those defender using proxy DLL hijacking. So the basic core concept is to finding the DLL. If you just found the DLL, you have lots of stuff to exploit. You can exploit it in a different way. It's up to you how you are expert in it. Just finding is very easy. You can use Procmon as much as you can, but not only the Procmon, not only the Procmon. Maybe you'll find you won't find all the DLL using Procmon. That's the case. Sometimes you have to debug your application as well. What your Procmon does, it just try and just trace out everything. Okay, the program wants this functionality. Okay, grab that DLL. Okay, it reloads that DLL. It writes this. It does this activity. It just monitors that activity. But what if there is some hidden activity? There is some hidden, maybe some hidden variables or hidden functionality which is not really used for regular purpose or something like that. Maybe some administrator activity which a normal user won't use, or I just given you example, nothing else. So in that case, Procmon is not the right one. Maybe you have to go ahead with debugging itself. You can go ahead to use the IDA Pro. You can use some other tools like I found that on one or two software. I can't say its name, but by just using the string functionality, I hope that you all know about string software. Strings, what it does inside the exe file, you can grab all the strings. So in that strings, you will find some of the DLL with its whole location. If you find sometime, then it's good. It's lucky. You can easily find that using just command more xyz.exe, maybe
Yes, yes.
use pipe and type string. You can use in Linux and Windows as well. Also, you can find string with Ghidra or Ghidra free, IDA. There are lots of tools to find the strings, or debugging, or statically analyze it, or dynamically analyze it. It's up to you. But the basic one, the very initial and the easiest way to use the procmon and the string. String will also be a easiest way. Just
Yes,
type
right.
string and your exe, and you'll find all the string inside that DLL. I mean your exe. If you find any DLL path location, I know one. I found one scenario. I can share that scenario at least. Suppose abc.exe is a program. Okay, program. I mean an executable. It tries to load the program itself. It tries to load uh, blah blah star.dll from xyz path. Okay, and a has has privilege to xyz path. So blah 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 star. Sometimes developer does this foolish activity. What happens? If they don't want to write something like blah 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 1.txt blah 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 2.txt or something like that. They don't really want to spend that time. They just want to copy paste, because developer used to do copy pasting stuff. Not only developer, we also, right? So what happens? They don't want to write 1, 2, 4, 6, whatever it is. They just use star. Okay, I can use star. I have the brain. I can use shortcut way, not the long cut. But they don't know what might be a risk of that. They really don't know. So in that case, if user has privilege to write in that directory, it can directly add. It's like I can directly add blah blah 2.dll. If blah blah 2.dll is not there, I can write blah blah xyz, because after the blah blah there is star. Star, that means it's a wildcard. I can specify anything. Star.dll, that means I can use anything which ends with DLL. If I just write this DLL and boom, I got the shell to the box. Easy. So that's the scenario why you have to use the string as well as the debugger as well. But in the initial and the very basic level, the procmon works awesome. Procmon works great. I found couple of DLL hijacking in the very known software. If you just want to let me show you the BubSuite itself. Hope you know about the BubSuite. BubSuite has the same DLL vulnerability which we already use, shcore.dll. So the reason behind this shcore only is, anyone raise hands? No. So the reason behind this shcore is shcore.dll is not available not for 7. It's not for 7. You cannot find shcore.dll in Windows 7. So if BubSuite has the policy of that you can use this or blah blah, you can find the bugs on Windows 7, then it's easy to find. You can just you can get all the software to your Windows 7. I recommend to always check within Windows 7 as with the latest upgrade, and the Windows 10 with the latest upgrade. I already created a lab setup for that, for Windows 7 as well as Windows 10. And sometime I need Windows XP as well, because some software doesn't work on Windows 10, Windows 7. Maybe you need Windows XP as well. So just by checking it, it's good to go. Clear? So shcore is not really for Windows 7. According to Microsoft official documentation, the shcore is not for Windows 7. It's for Windows 8.1 and the higher one. So it's not available for Windows 7, Windows XP, Windows Vista, and whatnot. Right? So you can assume that how it can be vulnerable. So if you just found any binary, maybe I'll get 2-3 binaries from here itself. If you found from any of the binaries, you can directly get the access to the highest privilege user using that functionality of path environment variable or a path environment DLL hijacking kind of. Clear? Any doubt? If you want to check this, let me quickly show you that BubSuite as well has that vulnerability. I have reported to the BubSuite, but they mentioned that they don't really want any bugs like DLL hijacking on the main execution one. I mean the program. They just want for the installer base. Many of thick client has the policy that if you found vulnerability, on DLL hijacking vulnerability on this installer, then it's valid. Rest, it's not. So I already uploaded to that bug suite, but they refuse that. They don't really accept those, and it's okay. But I learned new. That's the reason. So I have Burp, I guess. Yes, Burp Community Edition. Phosphate community, you can use Pro. I have tested with free as well as Pro. Both is vulnerable because it tried to load that shcore.dll from the path environment variable. So if any user has privilege to path environment variable, can write their DLL to that path, and whenever the official user or the trusted user will execute the bug suite very next time, the automatically your DLL will be called, and boom, you'll get shelled to the box. See, I haven't started yet. Oh, I started. That's cool. Something wrong. Seems wrong. I have added filter. Okay. I just removed the SwiftNet to burp suite. Yes, I did. As you can see, the shcore.dll. Everywhere is shcore.dll because I filtered it. As you can see, I filtered the path as ends with shcore.dll. So if you want some bugs, you can find some thick client application for testing from the bug bounty environment. If they allow the Windows 7, you can easily get these low hanging fruits. Just find the shcore. If you want, just Google, show them the page that the official Microsoft document says shcore.dll is not available for Windows 7. But I'm sure that maybe you won't get any bounties, but at least an appreciation letter or similar. Clear? Anyone? Any doubts?